duty to accommodate arises out of legislation, whether it's federal, Canadian Human Rights Act, or provincial Ontario Human Rights Code in our jurisdiction. It has two aspects to it, a procedural and a substantive aspect. First of all, just to reiterate, the definition of a duty to accommodate is to make the workplace a little bit more accessible and suitable for a particular employee whose performance may be affected by a protected right under Human Rights Act. In this case, it might be disability. So it's about asking yourselves as an employer what accommodations can be made for this particular employee within reason, to make it a little bit better for that employee in the workplace. The duty to accommodate stops at the point of undue hardship. Undue hardship has its own definition under the law. If your business can't operate anymore because of the accommodation, that's undue hardship. If you're spending so much to accommodate a particular employee to the point where your business can no longer operate, financially speaking, we don't ask employers to go that far. We don't ask for a perfect solution, we ask for a reasonable solution. And as I said before, it's a case-by-case basis. So as I said, there's two aspects to it. The procedural aspect to duty to accommodate. You might be surprised as employers to learn that there's actually a duty to inquire. Where an employer is reasonably aware, or ought to be reasonably aware, that somebody's disability may be affecting their job performance, the duty to inquire is triggered. To be observant, to ask the right questions, to understand the indicia in a workplace that somebody may or may not be going through something latent that's not tangible. Absences, uncharacteristic behaviors in the workplace, employees lashing out. These might not be things where the employee is necessarily saying, I have depression and I need this accommodation. But if those indicia are in place, and if the employer isn't aware of the duty to inquire, they miss the procedural aspect of the duty to accommodate, which opens themselves up to constructive dismissal claims. Just because you have a disability or need an accommodation doesn't mean that you are not, fit to work or still going to be a productive worker.
Can I add to that? I think a lot of employers don't realize that accommodations sometimes are very simple accommodations. Right? Sitting beside a window could be an accommodation, right?
Going for a walk. Again, I think the other aspect, looking at hours of work. I mean, there's different options that may challenge some of our traditional ways of looking at work. But I think there's another piece here as well, is that we need to look at almost a stigma associated with accommodation. Mm-hmm. And that is, this is not a perk. This isn't something that says, okay, well, if I do it for this individual, now I got to do it for everybody. And those are misconceptions. Think about when you have people that are coming to start on your job and we set them up from an ergonomic point of view. Think about that. That's an accommodation.
And that costs money.
And it can cost a lot of money. But on top of that, it also adds to productivity. It adds to efficiencies. If you're saying, look, you know what, I can't ask if you have depression, but I can ask, are there things that we can do to help you be more successful at work? And those are common needs that we have. So I do think it is important when you think about accommodation is, yes, there's the legal obligation, but it's also an opportunity like EFAPs to be able to help people earlier and hopefully keep people healthy enough to stay at work.